Welcome to another episode of Goalhorns and Fight Songs, a podcast streamed live on Twitch and uploaded later to YouTube. I'm your host, as always, Wes, on Twitter at Painted Bronco, and my host, as always, is Mike on Twitter at Maro04, which I'll fix later. We have a very special guest joining us on this episode. He is a four-time NCHC Forward of the Week, the NCHC Player of the Month for November 2021, a second-team All-American for this season, the NCAA leading goal scorer this season, most recently a WMU Bronco, and is currently a member of the AHL's Hershey Bears, Ethen Frank. How's it going, Ethen?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing all right, I think. Still kind of getting over some of the season and wait until next season starts now.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of stuff about recruits coming up, and I can tell that there's a lot of energy for this new class coming in, which will be exciting.
Yeah, there's one kid who's making a lot of noise up in Canada right now. I think it's Ryan McAllister. He had a killer season and incredible playoffs. His team just won their championship up there.
Yeah, no, I've seen a lot of stuff from a couple of the Western hockey accounts, like I think the Lunatics might have tweeted something, and then like the recruits page tweeted something, and even I think the hockey team did too. So yeah, no, they're excited for him, and I'm excited too. Hopefully he can do some damage.
So we usually like to start out the show a little bit different than most shows. I think you usually do your lightning round at the end. We do ours at the beginning, and we call it the 1T warm-ups. So you're going to get a series of 6 questions, 3 from each of us that should be just quick, kind of short answer questions. And Mike has the first one.
Okay. Yeah, Ethen, so when you're going down, are you a wrister or a clap bomb type of guy? Which would you rather do?
Personally, wrister. I think I can get some more accuracy out of it. I think clap bombs, I just try and hit it as hard as I can, whether it's going through the goalie's chest or 10 feet high and wide. I think I get a lot more accuracy and can put it in a better spot.
Are you a left skate first or a right skate first guy when you're tying up your laces?
I'm pretty sure it's left skate. I'm not super superstitious, so it's not like always one skate first, but I think I do left skate first most of the time.
I think that's one of those things that just becomes a habit after a while. So it's not
really honestly. Yeah, muscle memory, force of habit kind of thing.
Yep.
I think Trevor, he had to think about it for a second. He was like, wait a minute, what do I do?
Yeah. Yeah, after you take that couple weeks off after the season, and you kind of forget how to get dressed again.
When you're going into game and you're going to score, do you have a pre-planned celly, or do you just go with the moment and whatever you're feeling as soon as you score?
Usually just going with the moment. It's always nice to try and like pre-plan a celly or something like that, but I just kind of think personally that takes away my thought from the game and can get me distracted and not thinking about the right things. And so I just kind of go with the flow and don't try and make it obnoxious, because I hate guys that have obnoxious cellies.
So baseball players have walk-up songs. If you could have a personalized goal song, what song is going off?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's a lot of them that I could pick from. I'd probably have to pick, there's a remix of a Danny California song in Red Hot Chili Peppers, and it's pretty good. I like that one. I've been listening to that one a lot.
That sounds like it would be fun. Then the last one for me, your favorite athlete as a kid growing up, any sport.
Favorite athlete, probably a tight battle between Crosby and Ovechkin. I had 2 fat heads of them in my room at my old house, and just a bunch of framed pictures and different shirts with their names on and everything like that. When they first got into the league, those 2 guys were unbelievable, and so that's all I watched pretty much, was them 2.
So you didn't buy into the whole Crosby versus Ovechkin deal?
Yeah,
it was just either one
against each other. I was putting them with each other because they were both so good, and I had, even though it was kind of a rivalry, I just had no reason to hate one more than the other. I thought one was a good playmaker and the other was just a pure goal scorer, and so it was enjoyable to watch at that age, and still is.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, and last one. What's your most bingeable show? So show that as soon as you finish that season finale or that series finale, you're right back to the series premiere.
There's a couple. I like Breaking Bad a lot, The Office, and Ozarks. I think I ripped through those 3 shows quite a bit.
Okay, so now we're into the conversation part, so you had a pretty unique college career, to say the least, especially the last 3 years with the whole COVID thing. So kind of like, what was that experience? You know, you get the season that's ended before the playoffs, that you're playing really hard to get that home ice. The next season you open in Omaha, lose your goalie in the first game, and then no fans even when you get back to Lawson. So, like, kind of how was that experience for you?
It was definitely unique. It was weird. It was fun. It was different, but it wasn't fun because there's no fans and just the COVID protocols and having to go through all the testing and stuff to make sure that we were good to go. And even when we did get a couple scares, you know, it was a mental wear and tear on, I think, a lot of us, because obviously we'd never been through anything like that before. And so it was unique, but like I liked the bubble. I thought it was pretty cool just because they followed like the NHL with that. And so it was pretty cool to kind of experience our own little version of it. But yeah, no, it was good. I'm glad it like ended the way it did, and I got that extra year. I didn't want to leave on a year where didn't really have a great year and there was no fans in the building. I just thought it was wrong not being able to get my last year in front of the Lunatics.
For sure. So going into that last year, you know, you had that big group of seniors who made the decision to come back for that extra year. Did any of that like play into your decision to come back for a fifth year, knowing that like Hugh McGing, Wade Allison, like all those guys made a group decision that like we're coming back for a fourth year type of thing?
Yeah, I think so. Just because I noticed, you know, like every year you obviously develop as a player and a person that you can just tell the difference. It might not seem like a lot, but from junior to senior year, there really is a lot. And so I thought that going from a fourth year to a fifth year could help me even more. And I think it did. I thought I helped with the leadership part in the room really well, and trying to lead on the ice for the younger guys that know it was different when I was a freshman and I wanted it to be a certain way when I was a senior. And I'm glad that like the leadership group that we had with the older guys could make it a good year.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone knows you had an incredible season this last year, and I think a lot of that was due to the fact that you came back and had great line mates like Drew Orad, who had an incredible number of assists. And you guys almost switched numbers when you made it to the AHL. He got 26 and you ended up with 12, which I thought was pretty funny when I was looking through the numbers of where guys got and where they ended up. Any plans to go back to 26, or are you just going to stick with kind of whatever the team gives you?
Yeah, I don't really know how it works at this level. I didn't find out what number I was until I saw the tweet that they released about me signing with them. And so I might be able to get a pick a number, but I'm not sure really. I've never been a picky number guy. If like they give me a number and I like it, it's okay. I'm good with it. I don't think it bothers me that much. I just, you know, I'm here to play hockey. Why do I care what number I'm wearing, you know?
Right. Yeah, for sure. I think there's just some players that are so synonymous with their numbers. Like Wayne Gretzky is one of those guys. Ovi, Sid to a degree too. Like, and it becomes almost part of your brand in a sport where you may not see a player's face so often, but you know the name and the number on the back of his jersey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's obviously something to think of. You don't want to be switching numbers every year just for the fun of it, you know?
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm not sure how it works. If I get the chance to switch, it'll probably either switch to 26 or 39, what I wore before 26. But yeah, if I can, I like 12. I can stick with it. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I know a lot of players in different sports, they're superstitious with their numbers, especially baseball players. Football now, they're going back to the single digits and everything like that. So it is interesting to hear. Like some guys, they are that superstitious. Like, I have to be this number. This is the reason that I picked this number. So that you're like, and I want to play hockey. Who cares?
Yeah.
Hey, they're gonna find out your name no matter what number you are. Right. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah. If they care and they're paying attention enough, they'll figure it out.
So you got to play against quite a few teammates there in your limited experience in the AHL season. Who was it? You played Wade, I think, once. You were on the ice for all four of Brandon Bussey's shutouts this year. One of them a little disappointing compared to the other three.
Yeah.
And then Cam Lee was in a game against you, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, it was cool. I looked up to those guys a lot because a lot of people know I lived with Wade and Cam and shared a bed with Wade my freshman year. And so, it was really cool because they helped me a lot growing up through college and helping me with different stuff. And so going up to finally play against those guys at the next level, it hit home and meant a lot, especially because I played with Wade when I was 15, I think. So yeah, I've known him for a while. And it's just cool to kind of see us both live out our dreams a little bit like this.
So then what's the dynamic when you know these guys so well and you're playing together, you're best friends? What is that like when you get on the ice with them and you're competing against each other? Is it all right, I hate you for these 60 minutes, or you give yourselves or you give each other a hard time and then move on from that?
Yeah, no, when the play's going on, obviously, like, it's your job at this point. And so I think you just put it behind us. Like, it doesn't, a lot of people at this level you've been playing with and against growing up. And so I think we can just kind of put it in the back of our head that, like, I have to win this battle. I don't care who it is, like, it's my job. I'm supposed to do that. But yeah, in between whistles, you talk to each other, you laugh, you hit each other in the shin pads or whatever, you mess with each other a little bit. But, yeah, no, it's not a whole lot. I just think the guys put it behind them and get to work,
Then kind of a follow-up to that, looking at the roster, there were a few guys that you played against in college, like Hunter Shepard, who he was kind of up and down this year. Kevin Fitzgerald, he came in at I think the end of the year, playing against them and playing with them as teammates. What's that like? But then Matt Molson, I didn't even realize he was still playing because, he played for the Wild for a couple of years, Buffalo for a long time. What's it like playing with a veteran guy like that you can pick his brain? And I would think it would be a really cool experience.
Yeah. Starting with Mols, I think it was really cool because he was one of the guys that I thought was a really good player growing up too. He flew under the radar, but he played obviously a really solid, well-rounded game. And so when I found out, because I didn't really know that he was on the team either until I kind of started doing my research when I signed. And yeah, it was really cool, especially because he just got off his surgery. And so when I got hurt, we hung out a little bit with some other guys that were hurt. And yeah, no, it was cool. It's the level that, like, his mind and game is just at obviously a whole different level because he's been doing it for so long. And so it was kind of cool to have that experience. But going back to, like, Shepard and Fitzgerald and guys playing against, it's kind of funny because you could talk about all the times, like, stories in college where you're playing each other and something happened. And so that's the reason you hate that guy. And now obviously it's, like I said earlier, it's your job. You just put it behind you. It's part of the game, part of the hockey world. So yeah, it's cool to kind of get to play with new players that, like, you used to play against. And, like, obviously you respect their game a lot because they're really good players. And it is pretty cool to see that.
What was that transfer like, going from the college level and then, like, immediately to a pro level, one step below the NHL like that?
It was a little bit of a culture shock. I think in college there's just a lot more speed. Like, you're always skating as fast as you can, as hard as you can. But at this level, like, guys will just pick you apart if you do that. So you got to be in your structure way more and pick the right time to skate as hard as you can, as fast as you can. Because if you're in the wrong spot, like, one pass beats you and then he's by you and there goes your guy and he's going to score. And so, yeah, getting used to that'll probably be the hardest thing, is just kind of learning to control the game and slow it down when it's necessary to do that. But also, like, the talent level, you never know what guy can just walk through the 4 or 5 guys on the ice to get a goal, and so you kind of got to be careful about it, but you just respect it, but you can't fear it. You got to still be up in their face. You just got to be careful with it.
How is the coaching transfer? I think you mentioned it a couple of times, going from Andy Murray to Firschweiler that late in kind of in the off season there. Because that seemed like I know it was a big surprise to a lot of the fans, but how was that as far as, like, the team taking the news and stuff?
Yeah, we were shocked. We just were at the rink for a workout, normal, another day, and we're like, hey, we're going to have a meeting in 20 minutes. We're like, oh, all right, what's going on? Are we talking about the schedule or something like that? And yeah, no, he came in and kind of started talking, and a couple of us were starting to get the hint after a couple minutes of it. But I think we took it well. We all respected Andy a lot. We know what his resume looks like, and so we had nothing but respect for him. He's a great coach and knew a lot about the game. But first is, like, obviously recently playing or coaching in the NHL. And so I think he's got a really good understanding of where the game is going now and how to exploit areas of it that some other coaches can't. I think his knowledge of the game is really, really good. And so I think that the Western hockey program will be in some good hands over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I was saying that, like, I think a lot of the reason you guys came out the way you did was because you had a couple guys who did come back and were in that whole transition period. Like, I think you, Josh, even Ronnie deciding to come back for an extra year, even though it wasn't like a senior year or anything. But I think that helped in that transition too, having established guys who had been through the program and had Frisch as an assistant coach for a couple of years, and now as the head coach was a pivotal part in that too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Absolutely. I think it helped too, just because we knew, like, Frisch didn't want to change how Bronco hockey was played. He just wanted to up the intensity a little bit, so to speak. And so I think it was good that we could help kind of read between the lines for some of the younger guys, because he would say something and they wouldn't really know what he means. And they're kind of scared to ask him. He's a scary looking guy. And so, we'd go over and be like, hey, this is what he's talking about. Do this instead next time. And they do it and everything's good. So yeah, no, it'll be good to see.
He had, I don't know if you guys ever practiced this, but the first time he was here, when he was the assistant with Jeff Blashill and we won the CCHA championship, they had this play, if it was a 5-on-3 power play, where they were sending the puck through the first D-man's feet, and this dude behind him was ripping a one-timer. And it would come off the right mid boards. Like, but they would play it all the way across. They had to have scored like 4 goals on that stupid play the season that they unleashed it. And I think, like, there was a couple of times where I wanted you guys to run it because it would have been set up perfectly for either you, or even if, like, there was a situation where you and Ronnie were both on the ice together, where you knew a clap bomb was coming from one of you two dudes, and to have Ronnie like set up in the middle, up near the blue line, and you behind him, and him almost whiff on the pass, and you rocket that thing.
Yeah,
I don't know that there was a goalie alive who would have stopped it.
Yeah, because they slide over halfway and then they drop, and it's the puck's still going, so you have a whole half of the net to shoot at. But yeah, no, we didn't really get a whole lot of looks on the 5-on-3 this year, but when we practiced it, some of the plays that Frisch had us running were unbelievable. Like, it was just ridiculous. Like, our killers knew what we were doing and still couldn't get in the way. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, he definitely seems to have a solid hockey mind, and do you feel like he had more of a tie to Western than Murray did, just because of the fact that he had played here, he had coached here as an assistant at one point, and then he was coming back and had a personal tie to the university, whereas Andy was kind of like, not to degrade what Andy did, because Andy was a great coach for 10 years, but he just didn't have that same personal affection for Western.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what helped first, like, how do I say it? Like, understand how to get to us easier and level with us, because he had played at Western and there's really no excuse to not listen to him because he's literally been through it. And so, yeah, I do think it did, especially with like the school stuff too, because he was so good with helping out guys that needed help with classes, because the teachers and professors and everybody knew him from going there. And obviously he's such a well-respected guy that they'd obviously help him out if they needed to. And so I would say so. Yeah, like you said, I don't want to take anything away from Andy. He did great, and he was here for a long time and made a big impact.
Stranger feeling, the first game in the pod, or that first trip back to Lawson when it's still no fans?
Probably the first game back to Lawson, because we've played in some neutral site rinks or away rinks where there's not really a lot of fans, and so having no fans in Omaha, like, it was weird. But I think coming back to Lawson and seeing it empty with those cardboard cutouts, just stupid things. I think that was really weird, especially after like not hearing the band and some of the chants. Like, they would ring in my ears in the game and nobody's in the stands, just because of memory. But yeah, that was definitely weird not having people at Lawson.
Mike, got anything? The wheels are turning.
I know they are turning. Well, now I forgot what I was gonna say. It was a good answer. Now I forgot what I was gonna say. I had a few things. I know one of them. So going back to the AHL, I know not to recall too much of our conversation with Trevor, but the difference between the workouts and the coaching style and just the lifestyle change between college and the AHL. I know Trevor said, "Oh, I got to do a skate after a game, what or a workout after a game. What is this?" They did 20 minutes of yoga, like, and you kind of alluded to it a little bit in college. You're skating hard every single shift, every single game, and you're not so much playing within the system. So what was that difference like for you, just in the lifestyle change, even off the ice and workouts and everything?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I with how First set the tone this year, he kind of ran it like a pro club. He didn't really care what you did off the ice as long as you're not making the school, the university, the program look bad. Like, you can do whatever you want, but when you show up to the rink, like, you're here to work. You're here for a reason. You're not here to have fun at sunflowers and daffodils, whatever. You're here to put in work, and you're here to become a better hockey player and help move this program on, or you're not going to play and you won't be here. And so that's pretty much what pros like. You do whatever. Like, obviously, guys got families and wives, and they're busy with stuff all the time. And so, yeah, that you just go hang out, do whatever the hell you want, be a good person, show up to work, and that's it. So yeah, I liked it a lot. Not a whole lot of structure, really. They just kind of let you do what you need to do. There's a lot more time and resources to get whatever you need for your body, and taking care of your body is starting to realize more and more every year how much more important it is to take care of your body, especially with playing 78 plus games a year. So yeah, that'll be good to learn some tips and tricks to help take care of myself.
What advice are you giving your buddies back at Western from your brief experience there?
Just work hard, like making it to the next level. Obviously, it slims down the higher up you go and less guys move on. And that's what separates it, is like some guys will go golf, but some guys will go get on the ice and go hit the gym for a couple hours. That's what you want to put into it is what you're going to get out of it, kind of thing. And that, it didn't hit me in college till I was end of my junior year, end of my senior year. It hit me a little later than I would have liked to, but now that I know, I can kind of ramp it up and start getting the right things going for my scheduling and stuff like that and training. But yeah, mindset is a big thing. I think it can wear on you, but if you have the right mindset and you're excited to do what you're doing and you still love the game and have that passion for it, then everything will be all right.
So I have two comparisons for you. So first, I've compared your style of play to Alex Tuck, formerly of Vegas, now with Buffalo. Do you see yourself being that kind of a player? And then the second part is I've compared Sasson to being a similar player to you from this last season, what I've seen him able to accomplish. Do you think those are fair comparisons, or is there someone else you model your game after a little closer?
Yeah, I would say so. I would agree with that. I don't really. I like to watch like technical stuff on Eichel and McKinnon, just because their form and power is just absolutely crazy. It's like, it blows my mind every time I see them do something. And so I try and watch a lot of that, but I don't try and model my game after that. I just try and take stuff from little things that I can help improve myself on. But yeah, I think Sasson will be a really good player for Western in the next couple of years, which he was last year. I don't want to take that away from him, but he's a freshman. He's only got room to go up and get better every year. So I'm excited to see what he's going
to do. What was that moment waiting to decide to find out whether Luke's goal was a goal or not there in Massachusetts?
Oh, I don't think that my heart rate has ever been higher. And I was on the ice for a couple minutes at a time before. And I was a nervous wreck. I still remember, like, my legs were shaking and my boots literally shaking, because I was like, I thought it went in, but I didn't really know. Usually you got a good idea. And so, yeah, when we found that out, it was electric to know that we did something that's never been done in the program before. And obviously for the older guys, that was our first time making it to regionals and the frozen face-off. And so it meant a lot. We were really excited for it.
Do you think you would have felt better had the next game been the next night, or were you okay with having that day off?
I would have liked it to be the next night. I don't really, because sometimes if you take that day off, it can kind of ruin it for you, and your legs will get heavy, and it just that lactic acid buildup can kind of take a toll on you. And we're so used to it, Friday, Saturday, back-to-back games, like we can get through it. But yeah, I probably would have liked it if it was day after day.
Yeah, especially you're playing in the toughest conference in the nation back-to-back nights, where no matter who you're playing, every game is a grind, whether it's CC or North Dakota, UMD, St. Cloud.
Yeah.
And you guys being, you were one of the top teams this year too, where it's not. I was like, oh crap, we got to play Western again. I think all the players thought that too with your team.
Yeah,
I think it goes every team in the conference. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the way that it is for you guys as players, where no matter who you're playing, it's like, oh man, we got. Yeah, they only have 4 wins, but Jesus, we got to play them again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, even the teams, like you look at Colgate, you're like, oh, the Western's going to stomp those guys, and they went up 5-0 on us. Like we didn't, you don't take it serious in really any college hockey game. Like you're still good players. You're still got to work hard. They're going to make you look stupid if you're not working and not playing hard. And so, yeah, that was one of the other lessons that I learned in college is that at this level, it's just you're every night. You show up every night or you're going to not play or you're going to look like an idiot.
So you brought up the Colgate game. You're down 5-0. You start watching goals go in. First it's 5-1, 5-2. Next thing you know, Ronnie's got a hat trick and you guys win the game 6-5. How is that moment like? What was that like on the bench riding that roller coaster and then getting to a point where like we won the game and there's zeros on the clock?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was really because it was 5 rip and there wasn't really a lot of time left. I think it was less than 10 in the second, so there's less than half a game left, and we got to get 5 goals. And we got the first one, and we're like, oh fuck, like we got a long way to go still. You get the second one, we're like, all right, kind of getting some wheels rolling here. We get the third one, and like you said, Ronnie's hat trick, and so now we're excited for Ronnie because he's got a hat trick and he's playing good, and so we're like, this is giving the boys some energy. And then we go within 1, and yeah, we tie it up, and we just said like in the intermission before overtime, we're like, there's no way we can't do all that work just to lose in overtime. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so yeah, it was nice to pull that one out because I think that kind of battle tested us and kind of made us realize, like I said, you show up every night no matter who you're playing because they'll make you look stupid if you don't.
Yeah, there was that one, and then there was the we score 4 moment in, was it the overtime or the going into the overtime game with, was it the second game against Nebraska in the playoffs that quote came out?
I think so.
Yeah. So I mean, there was a couple of games where I think it was last year you guys weren't able to complete like any comeback, or we had struggled to complete any comeback, and then this year it was no matter what the score was, be it 1-0, 5-0, like we weren't out of the game until there were 4 zeros across the board. And
mm-hmm.
How did that change in mentality come about? Like, was that just guys believing in each other a little more? Or was it just a difference?
Yeah, I think it was. I put a lot of credit for that on First, like him putting the belief in us and like almost forcing us to believe in ourselves and each other. Really helped a lot. Like you guys let up 5 goals, you put yourselves here. Nobody cares. Work your way back. Like you put yourselves here. That's your job. Like do it. You know what I mean? Like nobody cares. You're not feeling it. I promise you they don't. Your mom doesn't care if your stomach hurts. And so, yeah, I think just kind of a mentality thing. Like I mentioned, you have the right mindset on it. And yeah, you can do a lot more than you think with the right mindset.
Western was kind of painted in like this we were kind of under the radar coming into the season. And I don't know if that was just because a lot of people weren't expecting Brandon to have the year that he had coming off of the injury so early last year, or if it was they thought the better players had left. But like Mike will tell you, I had Western pretty much figured 3rd in the NCHC from the beginning of the season, with a decent chance at being able to win the Penrose or be fighting for the Penrose. And did you guys feel like you were underrated or a little bit undermined as far as what you were capable of doing and how the season was going to go?
Yeah, off the start, I definitely think so, especially because obviously for that soon-to-be junior class, when they were in the bubble. Like, that's such a tough way to come into your first college games. And so they didn't think that they were going to do well. The coaching change. And I think it was just a buildup of things. It kind of maybe played a little trick on us. Like, shit, like, are we not supposed to be good this year? But it also kind of lit a fire in us. Like, F that. That's not right. We're better than that. I don't believe that article. So yeah, it could have been a mixture of things. But it's always nice being underrated because, they're expecting you to be bad. So if you're good, they're like, holy crap! Look at these guys over here. These guys are great.
Right.
So yeah, it's that's all right though. A lot of teams get underrated that end up being.
Yeah, I will say for sure I had high expectations, but even my expectations were exceeded this year. I think we're going to try and wind down a little bit, let you get back to watching the game. The Evs are currently up 6-3. So don't want you to miss any of the goals left to be scored.
Like, there's a lot.
I can't, I have Ahsoka here.
Oh.
I still can't cheer for the Avs. I mean, this does it. But I do have a couple of questions that we usually like to end with. There's 4 of them. 2 are fairly easy answers, and then 2 can be a little bit more complicated. So I'll go with the easy answers first. The first 2 questions are kind of combined. What's your favorite NCHC arena that you've played in that's not Lawson? And what's the favorite NCHC city that you've been to that's not Kalamazoo since you live there?
Favorite rink would probably have to be either North Dakota, just because it was like an NHL rink, or probably Omaha, just because I always got friends and family and usually played pretty good in Omaha. And so I always liked coming back to Omaha for some games. But favorite city would probably have to be Miami or Colorado Springs. I think the Miami campus was really cool with Brick Street and everything like that. And then Colorado Springs, you look outside your window and you just see the mountains, and it was a pretty cool thing. I grew up in Denver and Colorado, and so I was like going back there.
All right. So
we lost him, I think.
I'm good.
You're good. We can hear you.
Is that as long as we can hear you?
Okay,
yeah, there we go. All right. So now for the 2 potentially longer answers. The first one is, the first time you saw this grown man that is sitting here with us painted like Sting, the wrestler.
Oh, look, you've learned.
In Lawson Arena, what was your reaction?
I was pretty scared, honestly. It's a pretty intimidating look, especially when he gets with it. Like, he's into the games, obviously. And so, yeah, no, we appreciate that. Like, he's on our side. That's what we love to see as players, as fans getting into the game like that. But it's cool because obviously not a lot of people do that really in college, especially like Boston. We just got the big, rowdy, loud crowd. And so, yeah, seeing somebody that paints their face is pretty neat.
Well, just be aware he might show up to one of your games in the AHL or even the NHL with his face painted.
I'm 100% waiting for the Hershey Bears to take on the Grand Rapids Griffins. It's only a 45-minute drive. I'll be there.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's bound to happen sooner or later.
So now you're gonna like be looking around for this idiot painted, like his face painted. All right. So last question, and I think this is my favorite one. What is your favorite off-ice story that you can tell us that won't get you in trouble with the law or jeopardize your career? Now you have a lot to live up to with Trevor's stories. Yeah, he had a couple good ones. So
did he tell you about his tailgate situation?
I believe possibly. The first night it was him hanging out with the alumni, I think as a freshman, and then him hanging out with the alumni as a senior, and Will almost being late to roll call.
Yeah, okay. So my freshman year, we're going, or I guess this is before my freshman year, but I get here my freshman year, and they have the first tailgate of the year for football, where all the student athletes go on the field, get their Letterman jackets and everything like that. And so obviously the boys and all the sports teams are up at the tailgate having a couple drinks. And I don't remember what it was, but it was like Fireball and something else that Trevor was drinking. And all the athletes, right, as the football team's coming on, you put your arms up for like a little tunnel for the football team to run out. And Trevor puked violently all over the place. Football players running out, slipping in it, cheerleaders slipping in it. Yeah, they found out it was Trevor, and that team had like 4-hour workouts starting at 6 a.m. for like 4 weeks. They were telling me they were running laps around Ring Road like it was their job, and yeah, that's probably one of the best stories that I've heard that won't get me in trouble. Especially just because it's Trevor too. He was just on last week. That's funny.
Yeah.
See, now this is fun too because everybody's throwing each other under the bus, and it gives us great stories. I came up with it just kind of on the fly. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. We're gonna get some good stories out of it.
Yeah, I'm sure some other guys have some great ones, but
yeah,
I got most of mine saved and locked away, so I don't have to remember those anymore.
All right, well, we'll get you out of here. Let me know the next time you're in Kalamazoo, and some wings and beer on Waldo's on me. I know
Sweet.
I know the GM. He'll help me out.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll definitely love to have you back on at some point if you're willing to come back on, and greatly appreciate your time, and good luck in the future, and hope to see you in the NHL one day.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. I always love the support, even if it was for Duluth. NCHC support's good. But yeah, no, thanks for having me on. It was great talking to you guys.
All right, so I'm gonna fix these real quick now that our guest has gone away and we're back on. I think we were on quite about 40 minutes. We'll wrap up the show just the two of us, but let me fix these real quick. Still waiting for schedules to come out. I think next week's show, as we do a little housekeeping, we will start our schedule breakdowns with Minnesota Duluth, seeing as they have a full schedule up, and the other one that currently has a full schedule is Miami, so we'll probably do them the week after. I am still, trying to always add more guests, and we want to thank Ethen and Trevor and Ethan's dad for appearing on our show here before, and they were all great experiences.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a lot of fun to get different perspectives and just talk to different people, especially their experiences, because everybody's experience is different.
And I think they're gonna get kind of different questions from you and I, being strictly fans of the sport, not, or in my case, really not having played other than street hockey in between cars coming down the road. But yeah, I mean, excellent conversation. Super fun. I think that'll be the hope, though, is to get, and then we want to try and eventually move on to just having Western players and people, but I mean, that's my bread and butter. That's my area of influence, so to speak. So it'll be that way for a little bit until we can branch out and get connections other places. And if for whatever reason someone happens to see this and they represent another school, or they want to, or they played at another school and they want to get a hold of us, the Twitter page for the show is just search Goalhorns and Fight Songs. The actual thing is Goalhorn Fight Song. The only O is in goal. Everything else is just no O's. Or they can email the page at goalhornsandfightsongs@gmail.com. Hit up our personal Twitters, which are on the page or on the screen. Follow us on Facebook. Don't follow us on Facebook, or not Facebook. We don't have Facebook. Follow us on YouTube or Twitter, or Twitch, Twitter. Any of those things where the word "follow" is used. I think that's it. Unless you have anything else.
Yeah, and
stumbled through the end of that.
Yeah, whether you supported another school, like involved, played for another school, we don't discriminate as long as it's NCHC. We may rip on your team, but we support all the schools because we want the NCHC to do well. So let us know. We'll gladly talk to you and have a fun conversation.
All right, sounds good, and we will catch you next time.